Hello again. Hawk's Landing here. Wonderful weather we're having, isn't it? I ask because I honestly don't know. The locks on my door jammed 3 days ago, and no one has came for me yet. Don't. My roommate left about a week ago on an excursion to the local library and hasn't returned yet. I have only 2 days of provisions left. Well, except the super noodles in the cabinet, but I'm not that desperate. Anywho, you're probably wondering why my voice sounds different from last time. And well, I was trying to sound a bit more, pardon my boomeries, hip and cool, but I ended up sounding like some simile I can't come up with right now.
Like some goddamn fool.
Yeah, like some goddamn Wait, what was that? Who was that?
Me, you goddamn idiot.
Arthur Morgan, legendary outlaw and high-ranking member of the Vandalin gang.
That's right, you dumb bastard.
Hey! What with all the hostility?
Nothing much. Just testing your temperament. And I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
I don't understand. What do you mean, tested my temperament? What does that even mean?
It's something that doesn't concern you. For now, at least.
For now? What's going on?
You'll see. In due time.
In due time? Is there something important I should know about?
Important? Somewhat. You'll find out soon enough. But my time here is done. I gotta go find that conv. I hope he isn't as cross as he was earlier. He could scare a bear's shit. We'll see you later, partner.
Wait. Khan? As in Shao Kahn? You know him? Was he here for a similar purpose? What's happening? Mr. Morgan, come back! Darn. Well, if the rule of three is to be believed, another video game character will come to me for a picture frame. Hopefully it won't be as vague as the last two. And speaking of being cross, you know what else involves different fictional worlds colliding? Crossovers. Let's dive into what they are, examples of them, and why they are so popular. What is a crossover? This is a question that may seem easy to answer at first, but the term is one where, if you were to ask the man on the outside, he'd likely not have a clue what you were referring to. But luckily for you, my little friends, I took a course in the art of the crossover during the inside times of early 2020. However, between then and now, I experimented with some paraphernalia and my memory is a little hazy. Let me tell you, Chupa Chups can change a man. But luckily, my good friend and fellow Chupa Chups enthusiast Jeffrey has done me a solid and collated a plethora of interesting factoids on what crossovers are. He spent hours every night, didn't sleep for a week. All this for a tub of Chupa Chups. Anyway, on to the notes. A crossover is, as defined by Wikipedia, a God's sake, Jeffrey, where did you put the fat cards? Oh, here they are. Anyway, a crossover, as defined by Wikipedia, is a type of genetic recombination that may occur in some somatics. Nope, sorry folks, that is a mitotic crossover. That's odd. I thought I made it explicitly clear, but I wanted Jeffrey to research for me. Maybe the next card is more relevant. A crossover is a switch connecting multiple input. No, this is a crossover switch. For fuck's sake, Jeffrey. I'm going to quickly skim the rest. Fateville crossover, crossover dribble, chromosal crossover, 105.1 crossover, fucking Jeffrey. Note to self. Rapperman Jeffrey. And reconsider the Chupa Chups next time. Just a minute, folks. I'll be back. 4 hours later. Okay, I'm back. After 3 hours of intense research in ways to Rapperman someone with strong passion, and an hour of Google searching, I have found more relevant information on this topic from a more reputable source. From Wiktionary, a crossover, in fictional terms, is defined as a piece of fiction that borrows elements from 2 or more fictional universes, or as I would define it, hyper shit. The previous elements range from locations, items, even characters from one fictional franchise existing in a different franchise. The canonicity of a crossover can depend on what the franchises are. Intercompany or first/second party crossovers are sometimes canon, with their individual franchises having a lot of common ideas between them. But crossovers between franchises owned by different companies are pretty much never canon. For example, the Archie Comics franchise has had crossovers with The Punisher, The Predator, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Kiss, and none of them have ever been acknowledged again, except in the sequel story to Archie vs. the Predator and quirky online listicles. Now that we've gone over the basics of the crossover, it's time to go into some of the most reputable ones. Since the dawn of fiction, crossovers have been put to paper, screen, and beyond. There are crossovers both intercompany and third party, official and non-official. A prime example of official crossovers is Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Series. The series, which had releases from 1999 with the original Super Smash Bros. And 2018 the latest entry, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, pits beloved characters from numerous of Nintendo's franchises against each other, like Mario and Link, and even non-Nintendo characters like Sonic the Hedgehog and Cloud Strife. Another example is Warner Bros. Pictures' Monsterverse. The cinematic universe, much like its contemporary, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, focuses on numerous different characters, mostly kaiju, a term referring to Japanese giant monsters, with their own films, such as 2014's Godzilla and 2017's Kong, Skull Island, and films where they cross over and interact and fight, like 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong, mostly fight as you'd expect. Yet another example is the DC vs. Marvel comic book series. Also called Marvel vs. DC, this comic book miniseries, as the name suggests, is a crossover between Marvel Comics and DC Comics, the two biggest comic book companies of then and now. There were numerous crossovers before and after this miniseries, including a sequel miniseries from Malcolm Comics, a smaller comic imprint where the characters of Marvel and DC were fused together into a single character, such as Captain America and Superman combining to become Super Soldier, and Batman and Wolverine coming together to make Darkclaw. There's also Lobo the Duck, but that's another story. The story of DC vs. Marvel is quite odd, with two brothers, each representing both comic companies, pitting their greatest champions against each other, with whichever team wins the most fights having their universe not go bye-bye. The final example is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Inspired by 1960s The League of Gentlemen, this comic book series details the adventures of the titular League, a group of characters from a variety of public domain works, such as Dr. Jackal, Captain Nemo, The Invisible Man, etc. The series consists of 6 volumes of comics released between 1999 and 2019 that combine the canon of dozens of fictional works into one cohesive story and lore. Having Bram Stoker's Dracula take place in the same universe of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, Prospero from Shakespeare's Tempest also gets a piece of the pie as well. Quite odd indeed. As we previously established, crossovers can be down to earth and sensible, crazy and wild, or messy, depending on the franchises and the context behind the crossover. But if care is not taken, a crossover can become a more negative affair than, well, an affair, I guess. Issues can arise, such as tonal problems, franchise bias, and an overall lack of care for the crossover itself. Crossovers themselves are quite weird, from a story perspective at least. But when the tone of the two franchises clash in an extreme amount, it can become quite off-putting. Whilst we can find amusement in the Punisher trying to murk Archie Andrews, it doesn't hide the fact that such a meeting of the minds a good story does not make. The Archie and Sabrina the Teenage Witch crossover is a much better example of an Archie Comics crossover, as while Sabrina's world has magic and Archie's does not, the tone, writing style, and characterization of both series mesh well together. None of that can be said for the Punisher. One of the aspects of a good crossover is that both franchises have an equal piece of the representational pie. 1993's Battletoads / Double Dragon, The Ultimate Team, gives both franchises a piece of the pie, but the ratio is less 50-50 and more so 85.74 to 14.26. All but one of the 7 levels take place in locations for the Battletoads franchise, and the character roster is weighted towards the Battletoads franchise. Ignoring the player characters, as Double Dragon has always had 2 playable characters, Billy Lee and Jimmy Lee, and Battletoads has always had 3, Rash, Pimple and Zitz. The main villains are the Battletoads Big Bad, the Dark Queen, and an uninspired original villain for the Double Dragon side, the Shadow Boss. And most of the enemies originate from the Battletoads series. The game also features the iconic speeder bike level from Battletoads, with no special level added from Double Dragon. Unbalanced, as nothing should be. Creating a crossover, like with any story, requires care for all franchises involved. Terminator / Robocop Kill Human is what happens when you blatantly disregard this point. The comic's biggest crime, ironically, is what they do with Robocop himself. Robocop is, despite his metallic body, a man who longs to be human. He is caring and does what is right, for the law, and because it's in his nature. The Robocop in Kill Human is a swearing, violent loudmouth who kills the last human on Earth and blows people up from the inside. On the Terminator side, they pretty much exist purely for Robocop to fight and destroy, for no reason other than to be evil and to kill children. The setup is lame, and the ending is stupid. Bad comic. Stupid comic. But enough negativity. Time to get to the point of this entire video, answering the title question, why are crossovers so appealing? Let's commence. Now we reach the metaphorical summit of this little journey, where we will answer the burning question of the day. What makes crossovers so appealing? What are the aspects of them that make us feel all giddy inside when we see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in No Way Home? Spoilers here. Or when we watch Darth Maul and Jango Fett performing sick tricks at the skate park. Well, the aspects that I feel make crossovers so special are how they can create even bigger franchises, meld themes and ideas together, and make interesting comparisons between characters and their worlds. To start, there have been numerous occasions where bigger and better franchises have been spawned through franchises being put together. The previously mentioned Super Smash Bros. Is such a franchise. The idea is to bring together a group of remarkable characters, see if they could become something more, see if they'd work together when we want them to fight the battles we always dreamed of. Lashes of characters from over 3 decades of video game history, starting with Nintendo and spreading to other companies' own colourful collections as well. Quite the sight to behold. Kingdom Hearts is another such franchise. The worlds of Disney and Final Fantasy meld together, with a splash of characters inspired by both. Take Sora, with his Final Fantasy hair, and Mickey Mouse inspired drip, melding these two quite dissimilar things together as one, like peanut butter and jelly, or Justin Trudeau's politics and his history of interesting social quirks. Next, the melding of ideas and concepts and crossovers can make them feel more like an idea put to paper or pixel for a more genuine reason than just because people will lose their shit and break Twitter, like with Steven Smash. This is the case with the mini-series Robocop vs. the Terminator. Published in 1992, and very much unlike its previously mentioned sister series, Terminator / Robocop Kill Human, Robocop vs. the Terminator actually attempts to connect some of the ideas and themes from both universes and make an interesting and coherent story. It weaves Robocop into the Terminator mythos, with Murphy being the base upon which the Terminators were built. He travels to the future and assists the human resistance in their attempts to destroy Skynet and free the world from their technological tyranny. Robocop is actually in character this time, and is not acting more like a Judge Dredd than he normally does. He's not a mindless killing machine, he's a good man and an honourable officer of the law. The story also draws an interesting picture in regards to the relationship between Robocop and the Terminator as characters and ideas. Robocop's story of wanting to change his reality of losing much of his human side clashes with the Terminator's law's idea of fate being unchangeable, which makes the story both compelling and quite thought-provoking. Finally, a crossover can not only be really cool at a base level, create new franchises and meld themes and ideas together, they can also make connections between things you'd never have previously thought would have connections in the first place. And no crossover exemplifies this idea more than the epic crossover between Transformers and My Little Pony. Yeah, My Little Pony of all things. The story consists of 2 series, those being 2020's My Little Pony / Transformers Friendship in Disguise, and 2021's My Little Pony / Transformers The Magic of Cybertron. To provide little background context, in Friendship in Disguise, the evil Queen Chrysalis of the Changelings tries to summon more Changelings to aid her in battle against Equestria, and in doing so accidentally summons numerous Autobots and Decepticons to Equestria, due to her magic interfering with a Cybertronian space bridge, a device used to transport beings from planet to planet instantly, like a technological Bifrost. In the second, the Decepticons try to bring magic to Cybertron and unleash King Sombra, the former leader of the Crystal Empire, who threatens both the ponies and Transformers' worlds and puts many of them under his command. The comparisons made between My Little Pony and Transformers are mainly through the numerous character pairings and the surprising cohesion certain characters have with each other. The best example is between the characters of Knockout and Rarity. Knockout is a tall, suave, sometimes Decepticon. He sports a red paint job and is damn proud of it. His appearance is his most valued asset, except for his conjux Endora, or husband, Breakdown. Rarity is a prim, proper unicorn. She has a pristine purple mane and makes sure to keep it that way. Her appearance is the thing that defines her the most, except her position as the element of generosity, one of the elements of harmony that gives the beholder incredible magical power. They both connect due to their shared love of appearance and beauty in general. They start out quite rockily due to Knockout having to steal designer tires, but they eventually start to get along and discuss beauty itself, whilst outraged with the extreme prices. Rarity even motivates him to free Breakdown from King Sombra's control. Who would have thought that Pony and Transformer could get along so well? And here's our video input from our secret collaborator F. And come back next time for another video. Stay R-paced and bed build. Laters!